I've got some handouts here. You just, there's three different ones there. At the last budget committee meeting, you asked me to send out a request. Oh, I'm sorry. You asked me to send out a request to see where their best case scenario, mid case scenario, and worst case scenario was on these requests. There is a spreadsheet that had the answers from the majority of these folks. We didn't get answers from General Sessions Court, Hodges County Volunteer Firemen's Association, CASA, and Contact 211, and hotels. But the rest of them we did get answers on. The others, the bigger stapled together packet is their answers, if you're interested in that. We had a discussion with our consultant, Eric and I did, and Sarah was in the room for part of it. The challenge we're facing is that we really haven't prioritized any of this list.
Just wait, we pause just a second.
Sure.
Make sure we get everybody appropriate.
Mr. Thacker, you want a copy of these?
Here's the whole thing.
There should be enough for about 6, 7 people in the audience.
Yeah, for Charlie.
That one and that one, the half sheet.
The half sheet.
Yeah.
Here's the rest.
Thank you.
I apologize, Mr. Mayor.
That's fine. And I guess since has it been since we met, we talked to the architects there? I don't know if you all realize that we did talk to an architect about the Justice Center, the courthouse and the courtrooms and so forth. We don't have that architect's report back yet. And this group and the full commission said 3.1 for what we had prioritized on that spreadsheet that Sarah had given out previously. We don't know where that's going. Is it going to be 2.1? Is it going to be 5.1? We don't know. So we have to really take a hard look at how far down this list, and I've kind of got it in a suggested order. How far down this list do we want to go and be assured that we're going to be able to take care of our own issues? That's what Eric and I and the consultant had talked about. Now there are things, and I just go ahead and talk this all the way out and let you all decide what you want to do. But there are things on here that I would suggest that maybe we go ahead and really seriously take a look at funding. Highway Department's equipment is on there. The assessor property definitely needs their vehicles, the EMA truck and Sheriff's Department vehicles, et cetera, on down through, EMA and E911 and down through that list. Where do we draw the line and stop and say, we have to take care of this stuff first before the rest of it gets funded? That would be my question to this group. There are things on here, and Michael Gillespie can speak to it, and so can Jamie. They're finding vehicles that are bargains right now that they could buy, but they don't have the authority to do that. If we wait, they can come in under these figures right now. If we wait, we may not be able to. Michael, you want to talk to that point, please?
Then we found 2 vehicles in Wilson County Motors, 22 Tahoe and a truck. Tahoe's $39,900 and the truck is $38,500. And what these vehicles are, in 5 years, they're still gonna have equity to them. they're gonna be good vehicles if we get on a rotation and decide to keep a good dependable vehicle for the county. Right now, we've got one money pit and the other one is on its third motor. So, and this, right here's two brand new vehicles under, well, 78.5 for two vehicles.
And then Jamie, same place, had found a truck. Go ahead, Jamie.
I echo what the mayor was saying there. On my request, we dropped about 12,000 off of it if we were able to make that purchase prior to these vehicles getting sold. If these vehicles sell, she told me the reorders, you can add 15 to 20% to the new prices. And that they're Chevrolets. That echoes the same thing that Chrysler and Ford already have done. And Chrysler and Ford, but as far as the state vendors have no vehicles available.
So I guess my point is, we're sitting on some of these requests that we could be taking some action on and saving some money, and I realize that these vehicles probably won't even still be available. Maybe we can find the same deal, maybe not, because it's gonna have to go to full commission. And, you know, we can't do that this month. We're 5 weeks away from presenting to the commission. So I just wanted you to think about that kind of stuff. Eric, did you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just wanted to echo the mayor's point here, and I was just gonna read a very small portion of the Kingsport Times News to you here from Monday, where they were talking about a neighboring school system and some of the bids that they were putting out, and then where the low bid actually came in at. They're projecting the project cost 4.2, the low bid came in at 6.7. There was another one they're projecting at $250,000, the low bid came in at just under 1 million. And then there was another one, 420,000, that came in at 1.3. So I know we tried to look at that spreadsheet and see how everybody would fit together. But if you tell 24, 25 odd people they're all getting money, and then you dive into this and actually start these projects, you're gonna hurt a lot of feelings, break a lot of hearts. I think you need to prioritize what it is that needs to happen the most. Let the dust settle, and then see what's left for everybody else. Now, I know tentatively you've got 3 major projects you're looking at the Justice Center. And, you know, you tentatively slated 3.1. But do you want those projects done or not? Because 3.1 very well may not do it, based on some of the things we're seeing right now. So, that's my comment on that.
So we'll throw it back to the committee, see where you want to go with this.
Commissioner Paul, I'm sorry.
One thing that throughout when I was out campaigning, going door to door, you know, I heard a lot of people talking about our roads. Our roads, I leave from my district, and I spend the majority of my time. My district, the roads are getting to the point they need immediate attention. And for years, you know, our previous road superintendent, he maintained his budget, he turned money back into the county to get grant matches for major projects, and we appreciate him for that. But I feel like our roads need to be addressed immediately, and Danny has gave us a number here for $370,000 to get him a paver and a roller. And the longer we put this off, the longer we're gonna have to wait before we start getting our roads worked on. And I was fully prepared to ask for more money, probably at least 80,000 more than the 370. And Danny has worked with the mayor's office and with some of the commissioners and said, you know, I can make do with 370, I'll take whatever I can get to get some equipment. I would like to go ahead and make an informal motion to go ahead and fund him with $370,000 so he can start getting some equipment to fix our roads.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made to fund the highway department for equipment at a price of $370,000. Commissioner Gill has seconded the motion. We'll open the floor for discussion.
That'll be a recommendation to the full commission.
Yes. Which will not come up next week. It will
Right.
have to come up for the next,
In February.
in February, yes.
And that's why the longer we put this off, it's gonna be another month, another month delay.
Commissioner House.
Danny Jones, would this get what you would ask for, the paver and the salt spreaders, whatever, for the trucks? What will this, you had a high and low, this low, what will that get?
That will get the salt spreaders on 5 trucks instead of 11. and the equipment is needed to repave, patch this equipment to replace what's not usable right now.
Will it be that's asphalt machine included in this?
Yes. We don't have one of those, so that would be number one, get a paver.
Good.
Get a paver and a roller, and hopefully a skid steer, and according to the prices, maybe a larger track hoe.
Sounds
And that should, the stuff will be used. And you'll have to be shopping for it, but that should get most of it.
I'll support it.
All right, any other discussion?
I just think this is the one thing that our constituents are asking us to do, fix our roads. And, you know, we've been blessed with the opportunity to have this money that we can make if there's not a recurring fund. You know, get them new equipment and let them get out here and get to work.
All right, any further discussion?
Or do we wanna go ahead and add these others in, since the cost saving is what it is?
I mean,
It's gonna be silly to act on one and not act on all of them.
would you like to act on the vehicle request, is that what you're?
Yes.
So that would include, highway department, assessor of property, Hawkins County EMA. Do you wanna include sheriff's department in that? If,
Me personally, I like to discuss that separately.
Yeah.
With it being a larger price tag.
I'll tell you what,
But it's hurt to her how she wants to know.
would somebody make a motion to amend and just add what you would like to?
I'll amend my own motion to include the assessor of property vehicles, Hawkins County EMA, the trucks for that.
At what amounts? At what amounts?
But the amount suggested here, the assessor of property vehicles, 80,000, Hawkins County EMA hit truck 75, and then the highway department at 370,000.
Okay, so Mr. Palmer is just editing his own motion. Who's seconding it? Is it okay with you? Does anybody else have an objection with him doing that?
I want him to include the water project at the Pink Hill, and also the Hawkins County Humane Society, include that in the lump sum.
Commissioner Ellis, if it's okay, we're looking specifically at vehicles, I think was kind of like equipment vehicles. But if it's okay, could we talk about those separately once we finish with this thing? Is that okay, Mr. Ellis? All right. So we'll stay with, highway department, assessor of property, Hawkins County EMA, and that's all, correct?
Okay. I think that's, Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, 525,000.
Correct.
Yeah, it's
What's that total?
about 25.
All right, any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Commissioner House?
I would like to include the Hawkins County Humane Society at 440,000 instead of 450. I think that's what was agreed on. And also,
They revised their request again to,
so
was it 400,000?
400 was the worst.
400 is the worst
449 was
case.
the-
All right, so can we take that one at this time?
And the Pink Hill water at 430,000, please.
Mr. Travis, what's your motion for 400,000 for the Hawkins County Humane
I
Society?
need to take those separately.
Yeah,
You
it's
know.
okay.
Yeah, let's do the Pink Hill water project, please.
Do that one first.
430. That's what total was when the commission after.
$427,940. But 430 is gonna get it, and whatever it takes, it'll be refunded back. I mean, you just pay what they're charging.
Is there a
Which is
second to that motion?
427.
I'll second.
Commissioner Gill on the second of the motion, any discussion?
For the Pink Hill one.
No, that was just Pink Hill.
Pink Hill, yes.
And can you remind me, Commissioner Alice, where that Who that would serve exactly?
That would serve, it's 2 mile in length. And that's including not only running the water, but 52 taps that the hookups will be at the road. The residents don't have to pay for their taps. And it's 2 miles in length. It's one of the best deals that we've gotten on any of the water projects.
So is that supposed to be covered by a USDA grant?
I think it got took off of that, so we need to do it through the ARPA.
There is a possibility of a tribal something grant. Talked to Ken Ray about it, he's not real optimistic there's an opportunity for it, but.
I feel like if we don't get this at this time, that Charlie and I, Commissioner Thacker, we've been working on this for the past 20 years, and if we don't get it done through this ARPA funding, it's never happened.
What I add to the question about the grant is that if it was successful, they wouldn't even start construction until, what they say, late 2024, 2025. My challenge with that is we don't know what the price is gonna be 2 years, 3 years from now when they start construction.
I thought Mayor, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought they said it would start immediately.
No, if it was the other grant would have to be awarded. We're not talking about ARPA funds. I'm talking about if we wait for the other potential grant.
Okay. Yeah,
It's several years down the road.
but if it's approved with ARPA, Commissioner Thacker, you help me on this, didn't they say they'd start immediately? And why they came in so much cheaper than the others, they've got 35 employees. They do their own construction, their own engineers, they've got it all in-house, and they've already come out and laid out they did all their homework. The engineer and the architect, the whole 9 yards, and they said they could start immediately, didn't they, Charlie?
Well, we had that, community meeting, Mark was at.
Yeah.
And there was 86 people there. It would actually serve more people than that, even though there's 52 taps. If you take families, that's gonna include more than 52, it's gonna include the whole family. There's 52 taps. All the homeowners gotta do is hook onto the tap. That's putting the water line in and the meter
Right.
on 2 mile stretch of road. The shortest route we've got would be 5.1 mile to get to that point. And they cannot afford to run it that far with just 2 or 3 residents wanting it. Because their water is limestone water, it's, it's decent water, so they don't want it. But, I've got a map here, and most of you, I guess, saw what it covered. But, all those people I've already, I turned 30-some names in at Scott County Water Department myself last week. And some of them turned them in that night we had that meeting.
What Commissioner Thacker's talking about turning in is an agreement with Scott County Water.
Yeah.
That they would pay at least the minimum bill for water to have their tap.
And they bought, I think about all of them,
Yeah,
except 3 or 4.
if you don't sign up for at least the minimum bill, during construction, they're gonna charge you $750 to put a tap in. After construction, it's $1,500.
Yeah.
So most folks, of course, are taking advantage of a $20 water bill in order to have a tap, whether they're gonna use it or not.
And First Utility said that if they, and correct me, Mayor, if I'm wrong, he said he couldn't put water in there for $1.5 million.
Right, that's what they said, First Utility.
And this is the only chance we'll ever have to get water in that area, because it's too far. You have to run it that 5 mile before you even get into enough people to even run them. And Rogersville would have to run it that 5.1 mile with just 2 or 3 residents, and they can't justify running it that far, and not get any taps until they get to these 52 residents. So Virginia has offered, the Scott County Water has offered to give us, or run that water line. And that includes, like I said, the tap. All the homeowners got to do is hook onto the meter, run it to their house for $427,940 is what it costs. And I got on my phone, of course, Mark, he didn't even want it. He looked at it, but didn't want to taste it. I'm talking about water.
No, I didn't wanna taste it.
But I do have pictures of it, and it is all bad water. They need water, including myself. I live on the same road. And it don't only take in the 52 residents, which takes in probably 100 people or more, ever how many's in a family. There's 2 churches on that road. So it involves more than just the people that live on the road. It involves people that go to good churches that don't live on that road. So it's gonna have a lot of people, you know, if it's passed. And it's very needed. I don't know how you ever get a better deal than that, for that price. And I'm asking for that to be taken from the ARPA money to get that project done.
That's my motion, Mr. Chairman.
If that's taken from the ARPA money, and you still apply for this USDA.
We won't apply for
You
this.
won't apply for it, so it would just be money that will not be reimbursed.
It, you know, it could possibly be applied to another project. I mean, we've still got, what's the other one?
New Salem, yeah.
If TDEC doesn't cover New Salem, then we can try and, you know, switch it that way.
Well, I guess my only other concern with this is, and I agree with you 100%, Mr. Packer, that, you know, we need to get water all the places, everybody deserves potable water. But we're helping 50 people, say, basically right now.
Well, you're helping.
Well, you got
100
50
more,
taps
but,
possible.
Yeah,
If everybody signs on. And I guess what I'm looking at there, that's gonna help 50 families. We're looking at the sheriff's department, what they need is gonna help 57,000 people. So, you know, do we not consider them before we jump onto something else? Because if we don't have, you know, we don't have the vehicles, they can't, operate their office.
well, I think you just voted, maybe on the vehicle.
No, not on the sheriff's department.
We're coming back.
Well, I think we need to stay on the vehicles and go from there, because, once again, that's 57,000 people. There's not a person in this county that sheriff's department's not gonna touch.
Well, how many people on that 2 mile on Cane Creek is it gonna serve? And New Salem.
New Salem, 20 families.
Well, see, we're serving 52.
Well, and I realize that we're not talking about that. We're not talking about New Salem right now. We're talking about the police department and the vehicles that they need.
That's my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Let's move on with the motion that's been put on the floor. Peaceful water extension at a cost of $450,000, is that correct? Yes, ma'am.
Actually, 430 is what he has.
430.
Third. Okay, so let's make sure we get that correct, 430,000. So if this passes, Eric, what does that leave us with when we discuss the sheriff's department, we discuss the Humane Society? Bear with me just a moment. As is, you're looking at 2.8 from the earlier recommendation that you made with highway assessor and EMA. If you green light this at 430, then you're down to 2.3, almost 2.4. Okay. And again, I just want to stress how far off those bids were I read to you earlier. I'm very concerned regarding the projects that you've already tentatively funded. Can we actually complete them? I mean, I don't see you doing those for the estimates that they were. So 3.1 million, are you gonna replace half the roof?
But those projects that we've already funded, we could address only the structural issues.
Well, that's what I figured we'll have to. You're gonna have to
Yeah.
scale it back.
We don't have
And
to fix everything that we need.
The reason those are presented to you is because the things have been kicking down the road. So,
That's what we had the architect look at, is the structural issues, the roof, the HVAC, and the parking lot. And only half the parking lot.
pipe's dwindling quickly is what I'm trying to stress.
Well, and you know, I've never seen $11.6 million bring up so many problems.
Absolutely.
I mean, it really did, because the moment that money landed, all of a sudden, all the things that we needed to fix came to light.
Well, those have come to light way before.
Building lists were carried over from Atlanta Roberts' list over to Sarah's list. I mean, they've been.
The parking lot was on the spreadsheet in 2015.
Yeah, that's not new.
Every year I've been here, all of those have been on the list, and the first year that, John Metz was the budget chairman, I said, we're gonna put a new roof on that building in 5 years, so you better start saving me money. That year, they voted to put so much money into the capital projects fund, and every year I reminded them, don't use my roof money, I've gotta put a new roof on that building.
Well, and so what we've got to also, well, actually, I'm getting off topic, and that's against Robert's Rules of Order, so I'm gonna stay on this resolution where we need to go later, right? And somebody please call point order on this, 'cause I'm.
We don't know this, but you do.
Let's get back to the Pink Hill resolution. All right, is there any discussion on the Pink Hill motion? Seeing none, Ms. Davis, we do a roll call now.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Mr. Gibson.
We're doing just Pink Hill or Pink Hill and the animal shelter?
Just Pink Hill is the only thing that he put in that motion.
Yeah, you asked me to keep them separate.
I did, thank you.
John Gibson,
Yes.
Danny Ellis,
Yes.
Tom Kern,
Yes.
Joshua Gillum,
Yes.
Jason Roach,
Yes.
Robbie Palmer,
Yes.
Nancy Barker. Yes. Motion carries.
That'll be put in the resolution in February.
Yes. And they will come back up for the.
Yeah, it's just a recommendation to pass it to the full commission.
Okay, so, Commissioner Alves, you had another.
Yes, sir, pertaining to the Hawkins County Humane Society. So you redid the budget again, and you got it what?
$400,000 is our lowest.
What?
400,000.
400, okay.
We factored in community support, get the lowest value.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to put that in the form of a motion too, but we consider this $400,000. They do a tremendous job. I mean, for an asset, there's only one Humane Society in the county. With the community is stepping
I
up.
think we'll get a second for that real quick.
Point of order, get a second.
Can I get a second on the motion, please?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Gill. Go ahead, Commissioner Alves.
I deserve to say that. But it is a good cause. I'll go out there and spend some time. I think several of us have been out there. All of us should go and look and volunteer a little bit, but, I think it'll be money well spent, and I'd like to put that in the form of a motion, please.
Who was the second?
Commissioner Gill.
Thank you.
All right, so the floor is open for discussion, and,
And where would that leave us, Eric?
Hey, Don, man, together.
Don McGregor.
Just under 2 million.
Funding the Humane Society for water
Would
projects.
leave us just under 2 million.
2 million.
And again, echoing what Eric said, we don't want to put half a roof on the Justice Center. We've got 3.1 there, but we don't know where that's gonna land.
well, and here's the thing, if we eat up this ARPA money on these very worthy causes, mind you, we're still going to have these problems. We're gonna have to figure out how to fix them. And the fact is, we're gonna have to work on getting our capital, projects fund built. I know that we have other funds that we need to address. If we're going to have to use local tax money to fix some of the issues that we've got. And so for those of us that are on the commission, or pardon me, on the committee right now, if we use the ARPA money, if we eat it up using for some of these projects, you need to be mindful that when it comes time to use local tax dollars to fix some of these projects, that we need to use local tax dollars to fix some of these projects and not rail against them when that time comes, because what's going to happen is these projects are going to continue to deteriorate, the price is going to continue to go up. We're going to have to fix them, And I want the Humane Society to get what they need, I do. And I also, we've not even talked to Sheriff Lawson yet. Sheriff Lawson needs his fleet addressed desperately. So
Well, it's either gonna be addressed with this or with tax money.
over local tax dollars, and that's the point I'm making. So as we move forward, if we're gonna use our money for these things, just please be mindful that when other projects come up in the future, we need to fix those projects if it takes other money to do that with. So.
And be prepared for a lot of questions from the citizens as far as, you know, why are you raising our taxes? Why did you give this to so-and-so and make us pay for, you know, other things? I just,
Well, to be fair,
I'm staying neutral on all this.
to be fair, we're getting off topic again. So, and I did that myself. Hawkins County Humane Society is the motion that's on the floor, a cost of $400,000. Is there any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Billings?
So, I'll say this, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend to be an animal lover or like a big animal proponent because I'm not that guy. What I will say is that the Humane Society does provide a service for the citizens of Hawkins County, right? And they do it at a much lower cost. I think we give them, what, $30,000 a year?
Yes.
If we had to provide that service to the sheriff's office or something, we'd be talking, you'd be doing that for hundreds of thousands if you were lucky to maintain a facility, to purchase a facility that you could do it in, to staff it, and to do the work that they do. I understand this is heated on both sides, right? People are either very much for it and very vocal for it, or they're very vocal, maybe not as vocal against it, but there's also some heated folks on the other side. But I do think that they provide a service to the county. And looking at, in terms of money, you know, if you drew the line, the big things, right, which I'm trying to stay on topic, Mr. Chairman, but there is, even with giving this contribution, you've still got a fair amount of money left to do a lot of these other projects, and that's including another $300,000 to Hawkins County buildings, which would be almost $3.5 million in addition to.
Bear in mind, look at your totals at the bottom of those columns.
Do what?
Look at your totals at the bottom of those columns. You're not gonna be able to do all of those projects. If you did all of those projects that have something in the suggested column, you're $527,000 in the hole.
I understand. I was saying if you drew the line, I didn't finish that statement, I don't think, but if you stopped at the big projects at the top of the list, those are the ones I'm referring to. That's if you took a lot of these contributions below the Humane Society, right, below there, if you took a lot of those away, you're right, we would have to share some.
Those below the Humane Society, and I'm just stating back, those below the Humane Society, if you took those away, you're not gonna touch that 527 deficit. You're gonna have to give up a big project somewhere.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you're saying the 527, but we're asking for the 400, not
No,
the 450.
I'm
No, I'm just saying
understand.
on that
I understand,
527.
but we're
if you
still,
50,000 less.
okay, we're still at 400.
Right, but I just wanted to.
$470,000.
Right, I just wanted to.
Yeah, it's still not gonna, these little projects are not gonna total up to the
Yeah, I just
deficit.
wanted to.
I understand, but the little projects will still not total up to the deficit. You're gonna have to kick out a big project somewhere in Minneapolis.
Okay, so, the Humane Society, motion on the floor, is there any further discussion? Mr. Palmer?
Where does that water go? I'm not gonna sit here and pretend, I do not think $400,000 should go to the Humane Society. I'm not saying there shouldn't be anything at all. I don't want that to be confused or be spread like wildfire. I do not think $400,000 is inappropriate
Chairman, I make a motion to table this until the next budget workshop, so we get some more information.
We don't have a budget workshop scheduled.
We don't have a budget workshop for our next meeting.
We have a budget meeting,
I'm
budget
sorry,
committee meeting.
sorry, so that's right, budget meeting, our next regular scheduled budget meeting, because I agree with Mr. Palmer, there's a lot of information we still need to get on this.
So the motion, has been made to table, well, actually, if it's a motion to table, you're supposed to take it back up before the end of the meeting. You probably need to make a motion to suspend the motion until, it's a motion to suspend definitely.
And keep in mind that the next budget committee will put you need to put resolutions in March, not February.
So his motion, if you table it, we have to pick it back up before the end of this meeting. If it's to suspend definitely until the next budget committee meeting, you can do that. But if that's what you like to do.
Yes, I feel like there's a lot more information we can get on this right now before I'll be ready to commit that amount.
All right, so the motion to suspend definitely until the next budget committee meeting has been made. Is there a second on that motion? Motion dies for a lack of second. We're back to the original motion. Questions been called for? Any objection to the question? Would you like to object to the question?
Yes.
Is that, do you mind for the speaker? If question's been called for and he wants to call for a question, if you object, we have to vote.
I withdraw it. Okay.
All right, question's been called for, Ms. Davis, we need a roll call, please.
Okay, Danny Elvis,
Yes.
John Gibson,
No.
Robbie Palmer,
No.
Tom Kern,
No.
Nancy Barker. No. Jason Rhodes,
Yes.
Joshua Gill.
Yes.
3 yes, 4 no, motion fails.
All right, we're back to the discussion, about,
Doesn't mean we can't bring it back up at some point. It just, for now.
Okay.
thank you for clarifying that part. Yeah, we're still not done. Okay, so, I guess, we probably need to identify some of the things that we need to talk about considering county property, and I know, I really love to talk about the sheriff's department. So, anybody want to sponsor a motion to move that one forward?
Keep in mind, if they ask for 1.4, and that 500,000 is just arbitrary figure.
Pardon me, Sheriff Lawson, do you have anything you'd like to say before we move forward with this?
Unlike, I think Jamie, they got set prices there, but continue to go up. What the economy is, but Chief Allen, he's done an in-depth study, and I hope everybody feels clarified.
Actually, thinking of the Wilson County, looking into that, that was a red Tahoe that was available on that. I'm not having any luck on the Durangos. I can get black, but I don't know if you know it, but the sheriff has got to drive a white one. You've got to have a white and green as a sheriff's department. Actually trying to work with some of our detectives, looking at trying to buy some used vehicles from Eddie's to save some money there. We've purchased, I think, 4 of them so far for the jail and things. And I know people always wants to talk about, pool cars. Study after study will show you a pool car will only last you about 100,000 miles. I mean, they're not taken care of. And because somebody is using it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We've got cars 300,000 miles on them. I mean, there's some days that my bill comes in $20,000 for the month of repairs. And it's getting worse. Transmission goes out, used to I pay about $3,000, now I'm paying around $4,800. And transmissions go out on them. I wish I had a better answer for you. It looks like the Dodge Chargers is gonna be hard to get. I'm actually been working with Wilson County to try to get on the bid. They open it up once a year. Once a year, they open up a order sale for that. And it looks like we're gonna have to be able to go to a Tahoe or something like that. And I know people talks about gas mileages and things like that. Do you do a little bit of research on it?
really, they get about the same thing. Crown Vic is the worst gas mileage vehicle out there. I mean, they get like 11 miles to the gallon. So, I drive a truck that the sheriff bought, out of the drug fund, and I get about 21 miles to the gallon to it. Seriously, I don't drive it like on all the cars, I mean, on calls, normally, I don't. I hate to say it this way, but the sheriff's asked me to do my job, and I do it. This right here is gonna be a half of a fleet. Whenever the taxes come, I mean, whenever the budget comes around, I'm asking for the other half of the fleet. I gotta have it, the sheriff's gotta have it.
You said, so the amount that you requested would be half the fleet, or the amount that's suggested, because we're suggesting 500,000.
Yeah, it's about half,
500,000 would be half,
about maybe a little bit under.
which is how many?
So it all depends on what the vehicle is. I mean, I wish I could give you a number. I can give you a very
Rough estimate.
rough estimate, 30.
Once you surplus the vehicles that you're gonna rotate out, do you have any idea
Yeah,
what you might be able to get out of them?
yeah.
Very little.
Scrap metal. They got 300,000 miles on. I've got, what we got on there, Sheriff, 11 we can reach sell. 11 of them we can reach sell. But, these cars is, I don't know, 90s and 2000s and 2003s. It's not that way usually. The sheriff,
Mr. Chairman, can I make a suggestion?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
I totally believe we need to fund their vehicles. They're saying it's gonna be this or taxes or whatever. We're still going back to the point where we don't know what that building's gonna cost us. And, you might, as long as you're waiting to make a decision on the Humane Society, you might as well wait to make a decision on most everything else. And by that time, so you think within a month we'll have something from the
We should be
architect?
ready to go out for bid, and he should have some kind of estimates on.
We'll know, more firm numbers by the next meeting. And that's just a suggestion. I don't have a vote in it. It just, to me, I draw a line and stop somewhere.
Well, I mean, we've already made some progress today. If the committee is okay with doing that, I mean, there's, and I would love to figure out a way to talk about rescue squad. I'd love to figure out a way to talk about 911 and Hawkins County EMA radios. I mean, all of these Churchill Rescue Squad, they have a request on there. A lot of these first responding agencies, that it's kind of like what Commissioner Gillum said about the Humane Society. They're independent organizations, but they also offer services that if we have to pay for, it would be extreme. We need to think about those as well. So, with the committee's permission,
We also made it clear today, and I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead, Mr.
We made it clear that voting down to 400,000 for the Humane Society, and I said this, does not mean it does not get brought back up just for this one meeting to fund it now.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment?
Mr. Sheriff Lawson.
One thing about this issue, I want the commission to understand with these older vehicles, the maintenance is gonna be outrageous. Just for an instance, a headlight for one of those Chargers is $600. So we're paying high maintenance, especially on the older vehicles, to keep them going on the road. Not only these high maintenance vehicles will jeopardize the safety and welfare of the officers driving them, but we may be delayed on breaking down and not be able to get somebody in there.
Kind of like, go ahead, Mr. Thacker.
Those you were talking about buying, are they gonna be the SUV?
We hope so.
Yeah, well, I knew you talked about it.
The majority of the people we serve is from mountains, and it's hard to get driveways and stuff.
Thank you, Sheriff Lawson, I appreciate it. Yes, sir, go ahead, Mr. Kerman.
My comment is this: I've heard from all these different, I went over this and everything. I'm a firm believer of this: charity begins at home. If we can't take care of our household, then what do we have left to give others? And we were elected to represent almost 60,000 people in this county. And everybody pays taxes, or the majority of them pays taxes. And I just feel like that we need to address what we have in front of us for the money we got,
And I think it needs to happen within our own ranks before we start going outside and promising a lot of money to people.
And then, Mr.
And
Kern,
that's all I have to say.
I would agree. And I also want us to remember though, that there's a lot of these organizations that offer services that without them, we would.
Sir, you missed my point. You missed my point. My point is, we need to take care of ours, and then, it's just like, it's no different. If I don't provide for my family, why should I make the donation to my church?
Well, I mean,
You know what I'm saying? I'm very worried about that.
Well, I understand, and I think we've heard a lot of good points here. And you know what, this is not supposed to be easy. And we're not supposed to agree on everything, because if we did, there'd be a problem. So